Welcome to the Milk Bar. 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 Welcome to the Milk Bar.
Welcome along to episode 633 of the Milk Bar. Jason Forrest here with you as ever. And before I tell you what's coming up on the show, I've got to say thank you to Nick and the gang from Week 13 for my Week 13 mug. That is a better quality drinking beverage holder, and I shall be enjoying that in the not too distant future. Meanwhile, I shall re-pick up my Milk Bar mug for this week's show. I'll have a sip of me tea. Right, what's going on? We'll be having a chat with DJ and Dr. Badalia, all about the importance of the 18 through 24-year-olds getting their vaccines, particularly ahead of it being a requirement to go out clubbing in the month of September. We'll be finding out what's going on with PJ Taylor and Kyle Finn. They got some fantastic music for us. Dean Friedman joining us for a chat from the US, all about his latest album release, which comes out on the 27th of August. Also talking to Adam Milichip, all about the TWS Sports Podcast, end of season 1, thinking towards season 2 sort of scenario. That's coming up. Plus, as well as all that, we'll be hearing about Rent. It's been put on by the Creations Theatre Company, and they are producing a brilliant show coming up in September into October over at the Dove House Theatre in Solihull. Finding out from two of the cast all about that. That's on the show this week. Dean Friedman's latest album, American Lullaby, is released in the latter part of August. He joins me now to tell me more about the album and anything else that happens to be happening to him. Hello, sir.
Hey, Jason. Good evening or good morning, as the case may be.
Yes, well, we're talking at a peculiar time of day. You're in the US at the moment. Obviously, the current situation has somewhat curbed your usual UK touring.
Indeed. It was traumatic having to reschedule a 40-city tour. And since that time, I've actually rescheduled it more than once. But I am determined to hit the road, and unless some giant meteor smashes into the face of the moon, which precluding air travel, I am intent on grabbing my guitar, getting on a plane, and hitting the road next year, 2022. Starting in April, I'll be touring all over the UK.
That isn't stopping you performing at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival this year, as you've got some virtual dates coming up over the next week or so.
Indeed. Now, this would have been my 18th appearance at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, my favorite place to be in August, not just because the weather's much nicer in Scotland than here in New York in the sweltering summer, but also because you're surrounded by, all this energy and creative talent and people taking creative chances. It's really inspiring. And so even though I'm not going to be there live on the ground, I'm going to be there virtually. And so for 2 weekends, for a total of 6 nights, August 13, 14, 15, and then again August 20, 21, 22 at 8 p.m. I'm going to be performing my premiere of my brand new album, American Lullaby. Mm-hmm. I'll be performing all the songs live, as well as a whole bunch of familiar radio hits as well. And I'll be performing it here in a Zoom concert from right here in my home studio here in Peekskill, New York, where you're seeing me wave right now.
But I mean, it is an unusual experience doing something like that, because you're going to be doing an evening gig at lunchtime. If we want to head up to, obviously, we have to go to Edinburgh to see a Zoom concert, which is intriguing. It's from Wolverhampton's only a quick one on the train. So it is possible, because I know you have a host of fans here and you've played our city numerous times, and I know we won't be too far off seeing you again. But that must be strange in itself.
Well, let me just clarify there. You don't have to go to Edinburgh to see the Zoom concert. You can sit in your own living room or bedroom, or look at your smartphone or laptop or any device, and you can just log into the Zoom link if you purchased a ticket, and see it from the comfort of your own home.
So that is all good then. We can join in properly. We can in fact do it every time you play.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, when I first started, when the tour, my actual UK tour had to be canceled because of the pandemic, I was a little skeptical about doing Zoom concerts, but after having done them for now over a year, I have really grown to appreciate them, because the thing is, Jason, there's this weird kind of intimacy in a Zoom event. Because, so for example, at a live gig, I can see usually the first 2 rows of people's faces and their reactions to my singing. But in a Zoom concert, I can see everybody in the audience, not just the first few rows. And what's more, they can see themselves, which is kind of remarkable. If you think about a live gig, you usually sitting in the audience, you see the back of people's heads in front of you. That's about it. And in a Zoom concert, by comparison, you see everybody in the audience, and I can see right into their homes. They're sitting in their sofa like I'm looking at you now. You can see their pets hopping up and down on their laps. You can see their families wandering in and out. You can see what they're snacking on or what they're drinking and sipping. So there, as I say, there's this weird intimacy, and it actually fosters a kind of real sense of community. And as I've been doing these Zoom concerts the last Sunday of every month, I have really grown to appreciate them, as have the audience. So I'm inviting your listeners to join my Zoom concert at the Edinburgh during the Edinburgh Fringe. It's not actually going to be in Scotland. I'm going to be broadcasting from right here in my home studio, the Honkin' Goose Studios here in Peekskill, New York. But the audience will be right there in the Zoom gallery, and it'll be interactive, and you'll be able to make noise and boo or clap.
However you see fit at that point.
Exactly. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. And tickets are available through my website, deanfriedman.com, or through the Edinburgh Fringe website, which is edfringe.com.
Okay, so we can join in with the Fringe, which is jolly good fun to do. But with the album itself, I mean, you've been doing this for a little while, and you're renowned for the fun that you have. How many decades are we classing this as now? Are we not saying 6, surely, are we?
Well, I don't think it's 6, maybe coming up on 5. How's that?
I mean, with the press that's running around this one as well, it's interesting because, I mean, American Lullaby, the title track from the album, that is poignant, meaningful, and a song which tells a tale of a nation, and it's not all good. And it also sits alongside something like the song which is celebrating birthdays.
Well, you know what? The whole album, American Lullaby, is my personal take, my reaction to all the very crazy, insane things that have happened here in America and consequently around the world over the last 6 years. Ever since all my countrymen and women woke up to a very disturbed reality TV show host, consummate con artist and money launderer.
I think who you mean.
Was the president, became the president of the United States. And it just blew everybody's minds. Even his supporters were shocked. And him most of all. I'm convinced he never believed he was actually going to win. And lo and behold, he did. And it really shattered everyone's security, their sense of security and confidence that people in charge knew what they were doing. And I think it frightened the world that something like that could happen, that someone with those kinds of authoritarian fascist leanings was actually in charge of the biggest world power for the moment. And it also caused a lot of foreboding because people that knew him in New York and knew of his lack of character and his very vindictive bullying nature were afraid for what was inevitably going to happen. And so when hundreds of thousands of people died unnecessarily because of his incompetent handling of the pandemic and his refusal to even acknowledge it or suggest that we imbibe bleach, it was not a surprise. It was a tragic consequence, but it was not a surprise. And that's just one of many issues that we've been grappling with all at the same time. Not just the pandemic, but the climate crisis, which, for years we talked about as being pending or looming. It's no longer pending. It's no longer looming. The climate change is upon us, and the West Coast is on fire, and Europe is flooding. All these things are happening at once, and they're happening at a rapid pace. So I was having trouble wrapping my head around it. And so this album was my really emotional response to this bewilderment and this confusion, and an effort to try and understand for myself what it was all about, what was happening. And hopefully, people can either relate to it or get some comfort or solace from it, or at least be distracted for a period of time from the reality that is staring us in the face. It's not all doom and gloom, even though I'm dealing with difficult subjects. I make sure to, as is my habit, to leaven it with a very healthy amount of humor and an ample dose of silliness.
Yeah, too much stuff, I think, embodies that. It takes on the serious side that we all have too much stuff these days, which is impacting the environment in exactly the same way as climate change, because it creates climate change. But we genuinely do have too much stuff.
Well, it is definitely a commentary on our obsessive consumerism. And also sometimes an innate characteristic of folks I know, including myself. In fact, all I have to do is look at the studio wall behind me and to conclude that I genuinely do have too much stuff, and yet I sing about it with some empathy for the folks that are have succumbed to it, because it is in part human nature to observe and categorize and collect, and sometimes we get a little carried away, but you do the best you can.
And doing the things like discussing mask usage and the other side of that, it's your works. I mean, I'm not going to say political, but it is something which is a reflection of, hopefully, a freer, more sensibly thinking side of a lot of society these days.
Well, you know what? It's definitely not an album filled with love songs, although there are a few songs on it that are, to my mind, love songs that try and offer solace and comfort to a friend or a loved one. As I said from the beginning, it was my attempt to chronicle all the very complicated things that the world is facing right now, that are happening at such a fast pace and with so little clarity that our heads are spinning. And I tried to make sense of it for myself, or at least to express it, because if you don't acknowledge the crazy things that are happening, then you're going to be woefully unprepared to deal with what's coming in the future. And so, I also try to keep it optimistic, because I'm optimistic at heart. That's my nature. Mm-hmm. But there's some real serious issues that we have to deal with. And I try to touch on all of them, or as many of them as I can fit into 12 tracks on the album. But again, I try to balance it with humor. And the reason I conceived of the album as an American lullaby is because, if you think about it, there's a curious thing that is common to lullabies in every culture on Earth, in every corner of the globe. Parents will sing their babies to sleep with lullabies that are filled with these dire, terrible warnings about awful things that can happen to children. I mean, think about Rockabye Baby on the treetop. Mm-hmm. When the wind blows, the cradle will rock. When the bough breaks, the cradle will fall. Here's this lullaby putting a little kid to sleep, and they're falling out of the tree, and the cradle is landing on their heads. How are you supposed to put a kid to sleep that way? But what I take it to mean is that these lullabies are an effort by one generation to educate and to warn and prepare the next generation for the reality of the difficult things that they will face as they grow up and face the world. But they don't want to scare the hell out of the little baby. So they couch those messages and those lessons in a soothing and comforting vessel, a lullaby, so that they learn as they're drifting off to sleep.
Yeah,
And
sugar coating and education on life.
there you go. A spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. So that's my take on it. And that's really how I've tried to structure and balance this whole album. It's meant to be listened to from beginning to end. And I try to also leave on a hopeful, optimistic note, because as I said, that is my nature. And I do believe that we have the capacity and the tools and the skill set to address these problems that we're facing, that our governments are not doing a great job of mitigating. We'll either fix it, or we're going to be fighting for seats on Elon Musk's space shuttle to Mars. But I'm more hopeful that we'll do better than we've been doing. And the last track on the album expresses that in a way. It's called On a Summer's Night. And even in the midst of all the doom and gloom and the difficult subjects that are dealt with in the album, I do think it's incumbent upon us to always be aware of the blessings that we do have, the good things that are on this world that we inhabit, and the good people in our lives. So I try to make note of that, is that even in the midst of all these difficult times, at this moment, on this summer's night, the world seems calm, and the world seems right.
The album itself, I've been looking to dip into it as a preview copy, and yes, it is fun, but the sound of it, I mean, the recording, it's just such a rich sound to it too. I mean, how have you could put that together? Is it just you on there, or have you got a team who are sat in a cupboard wearing masks just down the hallway?
Well, I'd say 95% of it was recorded right here in this studio on this microphone with this Dell all-in-one PC. With this guitar and that keyboard and this harmonica. But I did have the able assistance of a handful of really fine, talented musicians who recorded parts for the album remotely, and then sent them here through the internet, and I assembled the parts and mixed them down, and the album resulted. So, for example, there's a tune called "I Wish You Joy," and the background vocals were contributed from the UK and Belfast, England, Belfast, Los Angeles, and there were cello parts that were contributed by Kevin Fox up in Canada, a beautiful flugelhorn part by Marvin Stamm here in Westchester. So folks like Katie Rose Bennett and Charlotte Campbell and Zolene Mayberry, and I hope I'm not leaving people out. And of course, my daughter Hannah contributed to all this. And my son Sam Friedman, who's a really talented keyboard player and harmonica player, plays a lot of the keyboard and harmonica that's on the new album. So if it sounds richly produced, I have to give credit to all those fine, talented musicians who recorded their parts and sent them in and allowed me to make the album sound bigger than it actually was, and for that I'm grateful.
Well, it is sounding awesome. The 27th of August is the release date for the single and the album. The video, as we sit here now, is on the verge of being released into the wild. We will be able to pick that up online. All of this, I'm guessing, like the tickets for the Edinburgh gig and everything else, through the website itself? Absolutely.
You can get tickets to the Edinburgh Fringe virtual Zoom concert which you can watch from anywhere, even out for a walk, walking the dog on your device or smartphone. So you can get tickets to the Zoom concert, which again is August 13, 14, 15, and 2021 and 22, 8 p.m. UK time. You can get those tickets on my website or the edfringe.com website. And you can also pre-order copies of the brand new album, American Lullaby, on my website. And you can even get tickets to next year's live gigs right now in the gig section of my website. So I invite your listeners to just visit deanfriedman.com or send me an email, and you get on the email list and be able to keep in touch. Actually, tomorrow is when I'm going to premiere the brand new video for the title track, American Lullaby. And I'm looking forward to it and people's reactions to it. So far, the reactions have been that it's a powerful piece of work, which is really gratifying.
Well, you're playing Shrewsbury and Birmingham on the tour next year, so those are our closest gigs. Your Legion of fans can head over that way from around by us, and it's going to be, as I assume, great fun. As you already talked about, whenever you're playing these gigs, there's a mixture of music from a number of decades, and we know that. I mean, your career is huge in the US, but massive in the UK, and I think the UK has taken you to heart even more than your home nation, hasn't it?
Well, I'm grateful for that, even though it's a schlep. It's worth it to be able to get up on stage and share my songs with what's always been a very appreciative audience. And when you're writing songs, you want folks to hear them and enjoy them. And so that's something I am always grateful for. And as long as I'm able to do my virtual concerts from home or get on a plane and do live gigs, I plan on doing just that, sharing these songs and keep doing what I do.
Well, it's an awesome album, well worth a listen. Make sure you get your copy pre-ordered, which you can either have physically or virtually. And of course, the virtual gigs to come over the next few weeks, and then the real thing in the not too distant future. Do both. It'll be great. Dean Friedman, thank you for joining us.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me, Jason. All the best, and all the best to your listeners. Don't you fret now, don't you cry. It's an American lullaby. Manifest destiny's a lie. It's an American lullaby. Half moon sailing through the night. Crack of a musket fired, first light. Always keep your powder dry. It's an American lullaby. Rest your head and dreams you'll fly. It's an American lullaby. Blaze a trail across the sky. It's an American lullaby. Drinking gourd will point the way. Stealth by night and sleep by day. Beg like Joe, you can rely.
It's an American lullaby. Unclench your fist and dry your eye. It's an American lullaby. Judgment served from up on high. It's an American lullaby. One fine night in paradise, God of thunder rolls the dice. 1,000 rounds light up the sky. It's an American lullaby. Restless dreams we shall defy. But TV pundits prophesy. Best laid plans have gone awry. It's an American lullaby. He said, I cannot tell a lie. Cross my heart and hope to die. Still won't look you in the eye. It's an American lullaby. Close your eyes now, sleep is nigh. It's an American lullaby. Cross the shallows, do or die. It's an American lullaby. Headlights shining in the dark. Coyotes howl, the bloodhounds bark. You can hear the angels sigh. It's an American lullaby. Human kindness in short supply. It's an American lullaby.
At the Dove House Theatre in Solihull from the 23rd of September through to the 2nd of October, the Creators Theatre Company are bringing Rent to the stage. Two of the stars are Mike Bentley and Matthew James, and they join me now to tell me more about the show. Hello to you both.
How's it going?
Good. Hello, how are you, Jason?
I'm good, all good here. Right, let's start off by finding out whom you play and a bit of the background on the characters. Because here's disclosure: I've not seen Rent in its 25 years. I must do, and I think we have the right cast now for me to go and see it, which is my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. So, Mike, tell us a bit about Benny to begin with.
Benny is an amazing character. He's sort of one of the characters that is a catalyst in the show. He used to live with Mark, Roger, and Maureen, and he moves out. He's married a girl called Alison, which is named something else in the show that I'll let you discover as we go through. And there's a backlog of rent that Roger and Mark have not paid, and that leaves Benny to come round and give them the really bad news that actually he needs all the rent paying back. and there is going to be a major development in their flat, and that starts the piece really, and really where sort of Rent starts from. But it's based on Puccini's opera La Bohème, and it really does follow the ups and downs of a year in the life of a group of very impoverished, very artistic friends living in Manhattan's East Village. Mark, who's played by Matt, plays a really aspiring filmmaker struggling to find his place in the world. And his roommate, Roger, that we were all friends together, is a musician, a really struggling musician. He's HIV positive, and he's wondering how he's going to leave his mark on the world, being diagnosed with HIV.
Mm-hmm.
So that's sort of like the start of our relationship, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because I mean, HIV itself at the time this was written was more deadly than now. With the right medication, it's now a condition rather than a death sentence. And so the story itself would have evolved. If you were telling the same tale now, it would be very different. So I think this is, it's great to get like a snapshot in time. And Matt, when it comes to Mark's role, how do you see it's him fitting in with all of this and a lot of the stigmatism and stereotypes that were around at that point in time?
Well, I think Mark's quite an inevitable kind of character, really, because he's the one that outlives everybody. So he's the one that knows that, and that has that knowledge of, doesn't matter whether it's going to be 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. At one point or another, he's going to watch all of his friends leave him, before he even reaches like an old age or a retirement age. So it's I think it's quite a poignant sort of character to play, to make sure that there's always going to be people that are alone, that have nobody, or I don't know, that watch everything. And he's very like, on a lot of our promo we use the word for Mark Voyeur, which he's always looking for that adventure, but also he captures sort of everything, and he wants to make sure that he's always got a living memory of all of his friends and all these characters in the show that you will soon meet.
Yeah, and if we were looking at today, he'd be the one doing the vlog about everything that was going on in the flat, and you would see the life of this community through his eyes on the internet. Obviously, that wasn't in the sort of presence it has now when this was written, and when we're set, it's just not a thing.
I think if Brent was set in today, the Mark would be some sort of TikTok famous, or like some sort of TikTok or Instagram influencer, which I'm not, by the way, but the way that it would push for 2020 Rent 2021 if it was written then.
Now, with the show and the creative team behind it, I mean, this is going to be an amazing show. You've got a fantastic venue to play it in, just down the road in Solihull. And Mike, I mean, you must be excited about that side of things too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, to get back on stage, I think for both myself and Matt, it's been, coming up for 2 years since we've performed, a theatre piece. So we're so excited, and we've got such a fantastic creative team, as you say. Our director, Richard Agg, is absolutely brilliant. Is not only a great visionary, but is a fantastic leader. He understands the characters so well. He's cast a really good mix of characters, not just the 8 principals, but also our ensemble cast as well, who have to play a multitude of different characters throughout the whole piece, from a homeless person to them being a parent, to them being a police officer. They have to really be diverse and really instinctive. And Suzanne Ballard, who's our choreographer, has set some really interesting dance routines within the show. Rent isn't known for its choreography, actually, but Suzanne's got such a big choreographic background that she's added a lot of street dance within the show, and that's making it really interesting. I've never seen so much dance. I even get to dance a tango in the show for proper, so that's amazing. And then we've got Chris Davis, who's our musical director, who is just astonishingly brilliant as well. And you need a good creative team around you to get the very best from each performer. And I think we feel safe. We've obviously had to work through a lot of COVID conditions, like every, theatre group are having to do. And that hasn't made it easy, but they've made it easy for us to transverse, you know, through that, and to actually get to know each other, and get to, you know, form this special bond that's required to do Rent, because it's a show that everybody's got to be in it, and it's a very much a team piece.
It's a team piece. It's an emotional piece as well, and it's one that is going to explore the stresses and strains on any relationship, but doing it all through song too. And Matt, I mean, your background is musical theatre. You've done cruise ships in the past, and will do in the not too distant future again, I'm sure. But you've also toured with some amazing shows itself, and I mean, you again must love the music from the show, because although I'd say I've never seen the show, I know a number of the songs, and it's just hairs up on the back of the neck time, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like I was brought up on 70s, 80s, 90s rock and roll. So this whole show and this whole score is like basically it's like a rock opera. So it's like I'm living the dream kind of. But you know, through the songs and through sort of like the beautiful melodies that Jonathan Larson has created, and the harmonies and the atmosphere that the music creates for certain scenes and for the piece itself, it's yeah, it's going to tug a few hearts. It's going to tug a few strings in your heart. I think, you know, especially we've got like knockout vocals as well. Like wait till you hear Dan as Collins, or you know Ash as Roger, because they are just like, it blows your mind when you hear them sing this material. And like I cried the first time I heard Dan sing one of his songs, and it was a beautiful moment.
And for yourself, obviously, there's an awful lot going on behind the scenes. I mean, we joked a bit about the vlogging side of things. Actually, you are sharing some background stuff as well as this goes along, aren't you?
Yeah, that's quite an interesting, I don't know, about quite an innovative way, I don't know, of sharing promo to, you know, to sort of show people what we're up to. I quite enjoy it because it helps me kind of get into character that way. So I quite like to just kind of like tease people as I'm walking around rehearsals, even if like footage never gets used. It's just still quite nice to have that little bit of method about me, just to sort of go around and, you know, try and capture everybody.
And for Creators Theatre, this is the first production, and I'm sure the first of many. And it's a group that have come together to really give people a chance to shine. And as a company that is new, again, Mike, I mean, the energy there must be awesome.
Yeah, so Creative Theatre Company was set up, as you say, it's brand new. It's a vibrant new theatre company in Solihull in the West Midlands. Richard, Suzanne and Chris really wanted to build a vision which is dedicated to enthusiastic, non-commercial cast and crew, bespoke to every production, and a company that share the desire to create an unforgettable musical theatre experience. And that, I think that mantra has definitely gone through the whole of the cast, and how it's, you know, being created, down to all the artwork that's been created for the show. And you know what we're trying to do. The sound, as Matt said, is absolutely phenomenal. I've had the opportunity of doing Rent before. I think Matt's done Rent before, and I think we can both honestly say that this is a fantastic production. You know, the harmonies and the level of voices that we've got in a room. I don't know whether it's because we've all had a break and we're all like, let's just sing the room off. But yeah, there's this energy about getting back into musical theatre and making it happen. And, you know, that's strikingly amazing. I've just got to shout out, you know, Jason Andrew, who plays Angel, is just probably the best Angel I've ever seen. And I'm old enough to have seen plenty of angels in my life. And he is just phenomenal. Kendra is amazing as Maureen. She did a live vocal on a radio show a couple of weeks ago. And you want to check it out at Creators Theatre Company. And it's just absolutely amazing. She sang Over the Moon, literally, like, you know, as an acoustic piece. It's just absolutely phenomenal. I think, you know, the cast and what people are going to see is going to be amazing. So come and see us 23rd of September to the 2nd of October. It's the 25th anniversary of Rent. It's a Pulitzer Prize winner as well. We've got a special Colour My World. We've got a special ball as well, you know, on the second week of Rent. And it's going to be absolutely fantastic. And as you say, the Dove House Theatre is an amazing theatre space and lends itself so well to performing Rent.
Diver House Theatre, as you said, 23rd of September through until the 2nd of October. Creatorstheatre.com is the website. Get your details into there and through there, get your tickets. You also find them on Facebook as well. And Matt, is all this stuff that you're creating going on your page or on the group site?
No, it'll go through. So if you want to check out like our BTS rehearsal vlog, it's all on the Creators Theatre Company Facebook, and I'm sure everybody and their mum has Facebook now.
Yeah, absolutely. Just type it in and it'll all be there. Like I do sort of like weekly vlogs, or I'll do little bits that give you like a little snippet. I don't know, something. It'll be a surprise every week, so just tune into it. Yeah, even you don't know what's going to happen yet, which is a fun way of doing things.
You can follow us on Instagram as well. I think we've got quite a lot of traction on Instagram, so come and follow us on Creators Theatre Company on Instagram.
Okay, Creators Theatre Company is the name you're looking out for. Certainly one to watch. And with their 25th anniversary celebratory production of Rent this September into October, you're going to absolutely adore what we already know is an award-winning, amazing show. Mike and Matt, thank you both for joining us.
Thank you, Jason.
Right, in a moment or two's time, we'll be having a bit of a natter with Kyle, Finn and PJ Taylor. Before we do, let's take a listen to some of Kyle's work. This is his solo release, Piscean.
In early stage escapist soul who never really changes, cared for me generously. Through many cases I do reflective crystal with many faces. I'm not to lose the fight on a Piscean tonight, night. Your heels, they give you height. You're a Piscean tonight, night. Faithful heart, loving stars. Compassion gives you life. You're a Piscean tonight, night. Like diamonds, you are my treasure. Heart but create for pleasure. Work well even under pressure. You perform, do it at your leisure. Can't count but the years don't measure. A connection that lasts forever. Let's explore this night together. No more teasing, tell me take some please. And little weak will act and lazy Neptune's freeze. And may embrace happen, but faithful friendships earned. This label storm winds blow and fans that Starfy's not in Kansas. Gave to you a friendship of many faces. Testing times we ventured through our crazes. Dominating as I feel your gaze is shining, edgy crystal. Never ages, not to lose the fight on a Piscean tonight, night. Your heels, they give you height. You're a Piscean tonight, night. Faithful heart, loving star. Can a tune control your life? You're a Piscean tonight, night. Don't matter about the distance, cause the miles are barrel resistant. We travel the world together, every time there's a new adventure. Look forward to when I see you, to laugh at the things we've been through. Like Venus, let's always stay true. Vous êtes un soit peace. No more teasing, tell me take some please. And lately weak will act and lazy Neptune's freeze. And may embrace happen, but faithful friendships earned. This label storm winds blow and fans that Starfy's not in Kansas. Piscean tonight, Piscean tonight, Piscean tonight, Piscean tonight, Piscean tonight. Vous êtes un soit peace. No more teasing, tell me take some please. And lately weak will act and lazy Neptune's freeze. And may embrace happen, but faithful friendships earned. This label storm winds blow and fans that Starfy's not in Kansas. No more teasing, tell me take some please. And lately weak will act and lazy Neptune's freeze. And may embrace happen, but faithful friendships earned. This label storm winds blow and fans that Starfy's not in Kansas.
Finn and PJ Taylor have been working hard on some brand new music, an absolute summer anthem, and they join me now to tell me more about it all. Hello, boys.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good and looking resplendent in something of a summery outfit or two down there.
Yeah, we've literally just got off stage, of course.
So explain a bit more about this single, how it came together, because we know both of you from various projects, and we're currently waiting on the video for the single itself, but we've got an awful lot happening, haven't we?
Yeah, we've got so much going on at the moment. I mean, we're performing around the country at Prides over the summer. We've just started and it's just very exciting. We're actually having a fantastic time at the moment. We're also getting gigs around the country as well. But Bobby Endo has really, really got people excited. I mean, this collaboration, the video should hopefully be out in the next week or so. And we're also working on individual projects, but we'll talk about that later on.
Yeah, so basically during the lockdown, we wanted to collaborate and we wanted to talk about something like going on holiday and sort of missing being able to just travel abroad and stuff. So we come up with this idea of writing the song together.
Yeah, we wanted to do something that was very poignant, and we actually listened to some classic reggaeton songs over the last few years, and we wanted to recapture some of that magic for this song.
Like Despacito.
Exactly, yeah.
So we've got some awesome sounds, brilliant music behind it all. You two boys going out there and putting this on stage for everyone to have a bit of a bop around to. And all this on top of the back catalogue we have from both of you. So, PJ, tell us a bit about your most recent work on your own before we hear more about your work with Carl.
Yeah, sure. I'm currently working on my second album, which is called Escapism. And yeah, it's really going well at the moment. I've got another 4 more tracks to record. I've got another solo single coming out in September, but my most recent solo single is Broken Melodies. And I am absolutely thrilled to say that Broken Melodies is number 4 on the LGBT music chart top 50, which I'm absolutely delighted about.
Absolutely, a round of applause, well deserved from Kyle there. But it's all going well, all good things, and I say it's a chance to explore and share your music. And Kyle, what's happening in your world?
So this year I plan to release a single called Play Me, which I plan to do a music video. Well, I planned to release it last year, but obviously things got put on hold. Mm-hmm. So I released it earlier this year, but I'm waiting till things get a little bit more back to normal and I can film a music video for that. But then in the meantime, this project came up, so I thought I'll throw everything into this. So yeah, because I've got a few dates this year at festivals and nightclubs and pubs. So I'm taking PJ with me, and yeah, we're promoting this as well as my other music, and yeah, it's going well.
Well, and you're known for the upbeat nature of the songs that you produce. It is all feel-good music. And yeah, there's a story, there's a message behind each of your songs, but there is just, if people don't want to listen to the words, they don't have to. They can just move to the music.
Yeah, but this song, like there is a bit of a storyline to this song. It is about a holiday romance, as well as sort of just wanting to go back to an island where you feel like alive and
exactly. It speaks a lot about the pandemic, and because it starts off the lyrics 2 years on and I'm still dreaming. So we wanted to write something that not only people would enjoy, want to dance to, but what people would be able to identify with.
We did a gig on Friday in Grimsby at the Old Exchange, and people hadn't heard our song before, and we sang it, and people actually got on stage with us and started dancing, and it was like, it just felt like, I mean, doing stuff by myself feels, I enjoy it, but having someone with me to share that, it's just like, it just adds, and it's like added a party atmosphere, didn't it? It
actually felt like, when they got up on stage, it actually felt like they knew that song for a long time. It felt like we were singing a classic song such as yeah. Yeah, so it felt that way, and it's just, it's an amazing feeling when you get people up and singing and dancing with you. I mean, that is really a good sign from my experience.
Absolutely. Well, good luck with the track. We'll take a listen to it now. And where can we go for all the details and obviously to track you two guys, because there's going to be your own socials, and is there a joint social feed as well?
Yeah, so Kyle Finn Music for mine, and
yes, I'm on Instagram. I'm PJ Taylor _music.
And we're selling the songs on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, and everything. But we're also selling a CD at the moment with our solo stuff, and also a few collaborations.
And to find us on Facebook, Kyle Finn, PJ Taylor. So just our normal names on Facebook, and also I'm also on YouTube as well. So
get the details, get the track, and get moving to some brilliant tunes. Have a fantastic time at all of your festivals and everywhere else you play over the summer months. I'm sure this is going to be one that's going to be remembered as we head through into the next holiday season, when people will actually be dancing to it on a Spanish island. That sounds like a plan, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, PJ Taylor and Kyle Finn, thank you both for joining me.
Take care.
Thank you so much. Take care. Bye. Bye. Bye.
I remember laughing, dancing, miles away but not forgotten. Holiday, life entails you. Kyle Finn, PJ Taylor. G's on and I'm still dreaming. I met you on the final evening. One big regret that I had to leave. Back at home, I tried to reach you. Called you up, your number unknown. All I have is a photograph of you. These are the words we sang, and we were so in tune.